We've got the body now, and we can begin to speak. My dear friends, it would appear that every time that I choose or am asked to speak unto each of you, especially in a group setting, that there be always others that I oft refer to that are also in attendance. Most of you who are familiar with our work remember this thing, that it's been said that, oh look, there are others here, some of them out of their physical bodies, if in physical bodies they still be, others visitors from different realms of the spirit world. It is again the case tonight. And why then do I draw your attention to it? Why indeed? Well, simply because as long as I'm here, I can't bear the thought that there would be something I am so aware of and you not at all. So I but share the obvious, to me at least, and it likewise holdeth the value of reminding you, if so be it you might have forgot, that you do share this universe with others who you can't physically see, but certainly who are around you, oh, very often. This eve, we have got an interesting group accompanying us, and they happen to be so interesting simply because they're not what you'd call earthlings, not of this earth, not of this planet, though they work here, you might say, at intervals. They are those wondrous and holy brethren, both male and female, and the third gender, by the by, and they hail from the planet Venus. So you've got here quite the surrounding of Venusian souls who are such a delight, really. Venusian beauties, I shall call them, for they are indeed, each and every one. Venus, the elder sister of Earth, more advanced in her evolutionary status, more wondrous as to her inhabitants, is the planet ultimately of love in this sector of the universe. You see her light at various times during the year, if you be astronomically informed, and you feel her constantly. How do you feel her? Simple. By that warmth in your heart that tells you love something. That fondness that you might have for anyone or for anything. And in yet a more accelerated form, that immense attraction you might feel for generally one individual at a time, which you might experience and call, somewhat erroneously I'm afraid, falling in love. Tricky that, isn't it? Falling in love. The Venusians are here simply because they've been asked to be here by the Great One, the Ancient of Days. And so they've come. They approached fairly recently, at a time when you in America were celebrating a rather, some would say, frivolous holiday called Valentine's Day, approximately falling to the 14th of the month of February. They came and they stayed and they remain. And isn't that lovely? For some of them are here specifically to direct, guide, and if necessary, push some of you in a loving direction. In many cases, that will be quite simple. It's just a matter of getting you to meet a particular person, and that will be that. As they say here in your world, end of conversation. What's done is done. For others, it will be a slightly different process. Should be that of working with you personally, from within yourself, as if your own conscience itself was to be speaking to you. That's how you shall experience it. And the conscience shall be reminding you or prompting you on the spot when you find yourself less than loving, less than appreciative, a bit too self-involved perhaps. And then you'll feel it. Now, I certainly am not saying that each and every one of you here is love deficient or somehow handicapped in that area. On the contrary, you form a rather unique band in that those of you who are drawn to, well, a place like this, doing what shall be done this eve, have already got love as the banner that you fly continuously, and God bless you for it. But, of course, all things are by degree, aren't they? Yea, even perfection is by degree. Faith is by degree, isn't it? Honesty is by degree, as is integrity. Courage, by degree. And all things being relative, well then, you see, it becomes quite an interesting formula. But that is the case, and I but am here to alert you to it, and perhaps more than that. I'm here to invite you, to invite them to interact with you. Why, some of them, rather jokingly, I suppose, are looking at me and projecting this rather strange feeling as if they don't have enough to do. And couldn't I please put in a plug for them? So I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So then, though I shall not do it for you, and that could be done, but I'll not trespass on your own free will in that way. I but enjoin you to do it at your leisure when you and if you feel it's appropriate. It's but a simple thought. All right, Venusians, come on down. Join me, guide me, lead me, connect me, put me face to face with whatever soul will cause me to become more loving. And that's pretty much all you've got to do. It's one of those things that's been planned from the beginning. Many of you here are quite ripe for such an encounter. Even those of you who might think, oh no, not I I've got my mate. Oh, do you? Do you really? Why doesn't it look that way to us? I'd say you've got your test and your challenge, and in some cases your ball and chain perhaps. But we don't know about your mate. But there be few, very few. So then, take advantage as you like. It's there for you. It would be as if someone simply came and, set out a large tray of sweets or chocolates or something. Say, there you are, help yourself. And they walk out, as I shall soon do. The point being, if you do invite such a being to aid you, then be prepared to do as you are instructed. For that is another thing that we've got to speak about this eve. As many of your own guardians, your guides, your teachers, your friends have this commonality in that their job is twice as difficult because you're not following through with those things you've heard to do, well, countless times in some cases, but at least several times in most. Think of it. Have you not got a prompting to do this, to do this, to do this? Not once, not twice, perhaps three, perhaps more times. Have you done it? Not yet. Well then, why are you making us work so hard is what we want to know. That's it. Won't you make it just a bit more pleasant for all of us? And I say for all of us because the moment that you do follow through, you'll find, of course, that you end up in a better place, wondering why it took you so long to get there. And then, of course, we can all get on to the next thing, you see. Isn't it lovely? When everyone does what they're told. It's just that your own resistances, my dears, we understand quite clearly, are to each other, are to mortals, are to people who have given you their foolish guidance, and at the time perhaps you were not too discerning, you followed it and found yourself far away from home. So we understand, but we would also like you to take a bit of time and consider the source. From whence came that faulty information? And if you can bear it, perhaps give us the benefit of the doubt. So, dear ones, please do follow through, won't you? When you feel that thing, that prompting, that inner drawing towards something or away from something, if you'll stop to note for just a moment, you might note that it's not quite coming quite from you. It's not your intrinsic feeling in many cases. Not that you're against it, perhaps, but it's not something that you're, a very familiar thing with. You're not really quite at one with that thing. So that's why it's got to be suggested, one way or the other, towards or against. So then, that being the case, we would ask you to give it a bit of thought, won't you? Work with us and we'll work with you. There'll be some of you here who've complained that you're not able to hear or see or sense the realms of spirit, nor we who inhabit them, very much. You find a frustration in such. You feel a bit of almost like a rancor or something. You're not liking it. You complain to the medium. I can't see clearly. I can't see at all. I can't hear. When will I? How can I? What may I do? And to this we would say, well, why don't you work with what you've got? But there is something there already, and if you would start with that, you could get more. It's that we can't give 3 directives if you not follow through on the first. That's really what it comes down to, dear ones. So, as you will it, as you will it. Now, the final thing that I'm to announce this eve is something rather of a world import, but for some of you I trust it will hold some importance. It certainly does to us. Very recently, as you would count time, we were all of us quite surprised and startled to suddenly receive a transmission from none other than that great prophet, once physically alive on your planet, called Muhammad. Now this one has attained to a far greater stature than that when he was the prophet. A master, if you will. And it was quite startling. For you see, when one inhabits the realms of light as we do, and that you all do when you're out of your bodies, mind you, I'm certainly not trying to imply some kind of exclusivity. That's nonsense. It is not uncommon, no matter what you might be in the midst of, that suddenly you're startled by what would appear to be like a television screen above, suddenly drawing your attention to it. Generally we drop what we're doing and observe. For it's usually coming from a grander realm. Only one coming from a higher realm has got the power to do that, you see. So that alone is good reason to note it. And we do, and we do. Well, we stopped and found this great one, giving us the salute of the brotherhood, heart, head in hand, and then saying to us all, I can be silent no longer, he said. Too many shed blood in my name. I have been in deep contemplation and communion with the great Lord Jesus. I have gone to him and said, how have you dealt with this thing? That almost as soon as you had physically left your body, they began to change your story, your words, forgetting your spirit, and indeed offending your very meaning and essence by their actions said to be done in your name. An extreme example, of course, being the Inquisition in Europe. The Master never dropped his gaze for a second, said Muhammad, but he looked more brilliant than ever. And he said, it has been one of the greatest sources of my own growth since leaving that realm. For every single time that is done, I am aware of it. And I send the light more brilliantly directly to that place, that heart and that mind, letting them know the truth of who I truly am, that they might, somewhere in their beingness, note the disparity. That what is being claimed as so-called Christian has got nothing to do with me. If so be it, it lacks love, compassion, understanding, patience, forgiveness, and gentleness. Muhammad said that he lowered his head, but he realized he was getting an infinite teaching. And he thanked the Great One and repaired himself to the deserts of Saudi Arabia, for he once had been in that life when he was Muhammad on earth. And suddenly there came a great revelation unto him. And he knew that he had to do the same thing, for too many were those who claimed to be doing what they were doing in the name of Muhammad, Islam, the religion supposedly that he began. So from that moment, my friends, he's been doing that. Now, on the one hand, some of you might think, oh good, it's about time, you know, really, I shall sleep better tonight. Not so fast. The very ones who are doing those things that they claim are done in the name of a holy man know good and well that what they are doing because they want to do it, not because they are working against their own innards, but following the words of their great spiritual leader. It's nonsense, and they know it. Just as those who claim to be Christians, when they persecute you, know deep inside they are not walking the pathway of the Christ. So what happens? A polarity ensues. And they separate out from him, if ever they were a part of him. And suddenly they are a group apart now, aren't they? For he does not claim them, and they cannot claim him. And so what have we got here? But a different breed, don't we? We've got a breed of beings who call themselves followers of Islam, Muslims, but who are indeed from a place and a time wherein they observe no laws and only called sacred whatever they felt was a reason to do the evil that they do. How can you use this information? By calling to the great Muhammad. For you see, by cosmic law, though he's got the prerogative of visiting, and he has, the more he is invited and invoked, the more he may do so. So what I'm telling you is that if you invoke him, if you call to him, then he can and shall come, go directly to those that most are the antithesis of the very things he stood for, and basically challenge them in that name and say, I am he who you say you follow, but you do not follow me. I denounce your actions, and if you will not drop them immediately, I denounce you. And therein, you see, is a judgment brought, and that is going on as we speak. So it is one more thing you can do to help to accelerate the inevitable, which is that these who claim to be Muslims or followers of Muhammad must come to defeat. For they are followers of none but some very, very dark angels who long ago refused to serve humanity when they were informed that the divine plan would require them to do it. Lucifer himself being the first, who when he saw and heard that the Lord of Lords said, you, my angelic wonders, though glorious in the extreme of beauty and light, are asked to serve humanity. These fledglings who are growing bit by bit, life by lifetime. And he was outraged. I, Lucifer, the son of the morning, serve these? And he departed the great court like a fireball. Very calmly, the Lord called to him. I speak of the Lord Sanat Kumara, and said, Lucifer, and called him as a father might call his son who left in a huff. Lucifer would not come, and for the first time was disobedient. The Lord called him again, Lucifer, come, it is my will. Again, nothing. A third call was issued, and to this came a rumbling from far away, a terrible, terrible rumbling. And out of it came a gruff and rough voice that simply replied, I will not serve. And that has been the mark of every fallen soul ever since. Where will you not serve, beloved? Therein you may find yourselves not in light. Look into your lives. Look into your hierarchical structures. Look at those that are there to guide you, either physically or spiritually, and watch, seek to see where you will not serve. You have all of you got masters far greater than you in every way. How is it you would not want to serve one of these when, well, all we can say is we clamor to. We can't wait to be in the presence of those glorious ones that we acknowledge as our superiors, that we might be as they, loving and light. This earth, my dear ones, for centuries has propagated many, many, many philosophies, all engendered by the egocentric mind of man, the human wit. But it is not the thing that guides one into the heaven worlds, and that much I shall tell you openly. So, be appraised by your own appraisal. Appraise yourselves. Where do you fall in that wonderful, wonderful line? Wherein are you not serving? And I am not referring again to serving other mortals particularly. I don't mean that at all, dear ones. Do not mistake me, please. I'm not referring to going tomorrow to your offices and, as they say, kissing up to that boss that you can't stand. I'm not saying that. That would disgust me. For there'll be reasons that you don't like them, no doubt. No doubt very good reasons, I would think. I am simply saying that there'll be places in your life where you know that your service is necessary, needed, and that it is beautiful service, that it would improve things, that it would lighten loads and burdens. This is the service that I'm referring to. That service that is righteous unto your own heart, not anyone else's. But that you simply not done, that's all. You've not gotten around to it, have you? Little slow, are we? Little lazy, are we? Don't want to turn off that television set. Or whatever. God bless you all. How well we know we've done the same, which is why we speak of it now. We can see the folly. Oh well, you can't say we didn't tell you. God bless you, dear ones. God bless you. You'll all make it to heaven one way or the other. Soon or late, up to you. But until then, we are keeping you in our hearts and souls, loving you as always, whether you serve or whether you don't. For we can't help it. We love you that much and more. God bless you all. God bless you all.